Can a president override Congress and consolidate power within the executive branch? Just 8 days into his presidency, Donald Trump has ignited a constitutional crisis by freezing federal grants and loans and terminating inspectors general, actions that critics argue undermine the separation of powers and threaten the foundations of American democracy. On January 28, 2025, Trump's executive order halted funding for critical programs in healthcare, education, and disaster relief, while agencies conduct reviews to ensure alignment with his administration's policies on equity, transgender rights, and climate initiatives. Acting OMB Director Matthew Vaith defended the freeze as necessary to prevent taxpayer dollars from funding ineffective or ideologically misaligned policies. However, this justification has drawn sharp criticism. Legal experts argue that the move violates the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, a law enacted in response to President Nixon's abuses of power to safeguard Congress's authority over appropriated funds. The act explicitly prohibits the president from unilaterally withholding or delaying funds without congressional approval, requiring a formal deferral or rescission process. Trump's action bypasses these safeguards, drawing comparisons to his previous unlawful withholding of Ukraine military aid in 2019. The dismissals of inspectors general further deepen the crisis. These nonpartisan officials provide critical oversight of federal agencies, ensuring transparency and accountability. Trump's removal of key watchdogs, including the Department of Defense Inspector General, has raised alarms about the erosion of checks and balances. This mirrors tactics used by leaders like Viktor Orban in Hungary and Vladimir Putin in Russia, where sidelining institutional checks has enabled the consolidation of executive power. The consequences of this freeze are immediate and far-reaching. NIH cancer trials supporting over 1,000 research projects annually face delays that could derail years of medical progress. Medicaid and disaster assistance programs relied on by millions now hang in limbo. Imagine a cancer patient whose life depends on a federally funded clinical trial, now suspended indefinitely, or a disaster survivor left waiting for relief that may never come. Beyond the immediate harm, this crisis represents a direct challenge to the constitutional principle of separation of powers. By sidelining Congress's authority and dismantling oversight mechanisms, Trump risks transforming democratic governance into a tool of executive control. Critics warn that this sets a dangerous precedent, weakening institutional safeguards and emboldening future presidents to bypass Congress entirely. The stakes could not be higher. This is more than an administrative action. It is a fundamental challenge to the rule of law. As courts, lawmakers, and the public grapple with the fallout, the nation must confront whether democracy can endure under the weight of unchecked executive ambition. History teaches that unchecked authority often leads to the erosion of democratic principles. Nixon's impoundments led to reforms that strengthened institutional checks, but those safeguards now face their greatest test. The United States stands at a crossroads. Will Congress and the courts rise to defend the constitutional balance of power, or will this crisis mark a turning point towards centralized authority? The answer will determine whether democracy survives in America. Please subscribe to the Intellectualist's new YouTube channel, where we present insightful videos analyzing the current events shaping the world. Turn on notifications to receive the latest updates from the channel.